So the highly anticipated episode of Caitlyn Clark on Travis and Jason Kelce's podcast New Heights has dropped. So let's dive in. So the episode dropped this morning at 9:30, and I was sitting there watching the countdown, waiting for this to happen, as were thousands of other people. And my major takeaway is that Caitlyn Clark is just such a good, humble person. As someone who does watch a lot of Caitlyn Clark interviews, there wasn't anything totally out of this world that she said, but she goes over a lot of fun stuff like her welcome to the WNBA moment, on picking Iowa over Notre Dame to go to college, her thoughts on the NBA rating slump, and about how she wanted to open up a rib restaurant. Random. The podcast is over an hour long, but I did find this really good timestamp list that goes over all the topics if you just want to kind of pick and choose. Here's what she said when they asked her about her welcome to the WNBA moment.
What's your welcome to the WNBA moment?
No.
If you could have one.
Ooh.
Welcome to the W.
I tell people this. It was early on. I want to say it was like our 10th game of the year. We're playing in New York versus Liberty, who ended up winning the championship this year.
Yep.
And somebody set a screen on me, and like I hit my ear
there.
like just perfect on the girl, where like my eardrum popped and like ruptured. Ooh. And I knew it right away because I've done it before, and I was just like, it hurts so bad. I don't know if you guys have ever done that.
So in that game, she actually only scored one bucket. As a big Caitlyn Clark fan, it was heartbreaking for me because I do live in New York, so it was easy for me to go to that game. But yeah, her ruptured eardrum definitely made an impact in the game.
I've done it. How did you do it before? Can I guess?
Guess. It was very Midwestern.
You did it in water. In water. Something
correct.
with water.
I got launched off a tube.
Why did you just get so excited? What are you, some brainiac?
That's how I did mine. I went off the diving board and tried to do as many flips as I could and smack my side of my head in the Heights High School swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, I got launched off a tube in the middle of a lake. I was like underwater. I'm like, am I okay?
That's some Midwest stuff right there.
But yeah, so that was my welcome to the W moment.
Wait, so when you pop your drum, what happens to that?
There's like not really much you can do. It takes like months to heal. So like after the season, the doctor had to like go back in and look and see if it closed. And if it doesn't close, you have to have like a minor procedure. But lucky enough, it closed, so I was fine. But
oh, thank gosh.
Yeah, you have to like be careful about like getting water in there. You can't go in lakes and pools. Like it's weird. Sometimes it'll bleed when it pops, but mine didn't, thankfully.
I think that Caitlyn Clark is so healthy. Like, she has not had many injuries at all, and this is including in her college career. And I pray that she just stays healthy. She also goes into why she picked going to Iowa over going to Notre Dame. She actually wanted to go to UConn, but Gino Auriemma did not pick her. Notre Dame did accept her, but from just past interviews of things that I've watched, she just said she just felt like she didn't have a good feeling about going to Notre Dame and wanted to be close to family and stuff. She talked about it more here.
How did you end up at Iowa? You almost ended up at Notre Dame.
I did, yeah.
What led
nice.
to the decision to go to Iowa?
So I basically narrowed it down pretty early on when I was going through my college recruitment that I wanted to be like in the Midwest, just kind of a homebody, family person, just wanted to stay fairly close to home. So that narrowed a lot of stuff down. And I visited like Oregon and Texas and a few other places, and I liked them, but it was just like, I knew it was too far. And then visited Notre Dame a bunch of times. And I was like, I love Notre Dame. And I like, as a kid, like you want to go to Notre Dame. Like it's the same with Notre Dame football. It's like the coolest thing in the world. Like it's Notre Dame. It has that tradition. They've had so many great players go through there in every single sport. But like, I just knew like something, like you could just like, I could feel it in my gut. Like I was like, I'm not supposed to go there.
Yeah.
So I picked Iowa, and Iowa was really good at women's basketball before I went there too. Like made a few Sweet 16s, made the Elite Eight. Our coach had been there for quite a while, but they hadn't been to the Final Four since like 1992. So I wanted to go somewhere that was good, but like maybe hadn't been like a blue blood per se in like quite a few years, and kind of help them get back to that. And then it was obviously my home state too, and 2 hours from where I grew up. So perfect distance where like your parents can't show up, but also like you could go home if you wanted to.
No doubt. Of
course,
no doubt.
Yeah.
It's important.
It just kind of all worked out perfect. And obviously I made an okay decision, and it worked out pretty well, but
worked out real well.
Yeah, it did.
Did you take visits to Notre Dame and Iowa?
Yeah, I took quite a few to both. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this is something I haven't heard Caitlyn Clark speak about, but she goes into like her idea as to why the NBA ratings are in kind of a slump.
Obviously, Caitlyn, you don't need to help with the ratings, but it's been in the news a lot recently that the NBA ratings are down.
Mm-hmm.
Should we brainstorm a few ideas besides changing the NBA courts to bring back ratings into the NBA? What do you think?
That's a great
You're the
question.
marketing major. Come on.
I've been asking a lot of people about this and why they think they're down. But also, like, it's interesting because I'm pretty sure opening day was the NBA's best opening day in a while. So it's interesting. Yeah. And obviously, I think
the Cavs are back, baby. The Cavs are fucking rolling right now. You know what I'm saying? It just makes the league better when Cleveland's thriving.
They're really, really good.
Fucking pulled that out of my ass. They are fun to watch right now.
So, well, let's ask this: what are your suspicions potentially as to why the NBA ratings would be down?
Honestly, like, I feel like the average just like basketball fan doesn't understand how good NBA players are, and they think it looks like they're not trying. I promise you they're trying. They're just like so good. Like, that's why it looks like they're not trying. And obviously the physicality of the league has changed a lot. And I wasn't around when it was like much more physical, and maybe people want more like beef and physicality, and people think it's gotten soft. But I think that's also because the skill has just changed. And like, that's what's great about basketball. Like, it's always evolving. Like, it's going to be different than when MJ played.
I think also people are getting paid so much money in the NBA now that they don't want to risk getting injured. So
it's hard for me to like put my finger on like why it has gone down. And also it's competing against a lot of football right now. You have to take that into consideration. Like, football is just, you know, that's America's favorite thing. I think people should like, I mean, I love 3-point shooting. I love seeing guys just like launch threes, but not everybody loves that. So I don't know.
What do you think about a 4-point line?
I love that. Let's do it.
Shocker.
That's a great idea.
Genius. That is genius.
4-point line.
How does the criminal justice major come up with the best marketing?
I love this idea, by the way.
Sometimes you just got to open your eyes, Jason. Look at the sheet of paper in front of you.
Or we could get like just 2 spots.
Because honestly, there's not a lot of people that'd be able to make that shot. Maybe Arike Gumbawale. Gosh, who else? I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that would be able to consistently make that shot aside from Caitlyn.
Is it potentially because they're playing too many games?
I think that's for sure probably something. Like 82 games on like somebody's body, like
that's so many.
It's insane. Like they're not practicing a lot. Like, it's just hard.
If it's to the point that that your star players are having to take time off, why don't we just play less games?
I know.
So the star players don't have to take time off. Because
insert Joel Embiid.
I feel like the NBA and Major League Baseball grew up in times where ticket sales were was your main source of revenue. And now it's all driven by ad dollars from TV contracts.
Yeah.
So to increase TV revenue, it's like just play less games in more impactful times. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to solve that. I mean, like 82 games and we play half of that. And that's going to go up as we add more teams to our league.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that 82 games is too many. Like, you gotta give people something to like look forward to. It just feels oversaturated. Now the whole like ribs restaurant thing, it's not necessarily basketball talk, but it's just like a really fun get to know Caitlyn Clark moment. And I really enjoyed it myself. I did know she wanted to open a restaurant, but I had no idea for her affinity of ribs.
If you weren't playing basketball, what would Caitlyn Clark be doing? You said you were a marketing major. Would you have gone more into that world, or you think you would have jumped into something else?
Oh, man, that's tough. I think if my basketball career would have ended, I still would have loved sports just because it was like such a huge part of my childhood and like what I did.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe like try to work in like a front office of a sports organization or something like that. I think that would be cool. Not like the coaching side of it, but like the operations side and getting to do like free agency stuff. And I think that would be really cool.
Apparently you have talked about opening a rib restaurant. Is this true?
Yeah.
Are you ready with the ribs?
This was like such a random thing when I was growing up. I like told my mom, like, yeah, there was like this plot of land like by where we lived, and
yeah,
I like had this weird obsession with like ribs. It was like what I asked my mom to bake me for my birthday.
Ain't nothing weird about it. Let me tell you, there ain't nothing weird about that.
So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna open the rib crib, like have this barbecue joint.
The rib
like,
crib.
Heck yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I've kind of phased out of like I love ribs still, but I've never made ribs for myself, but I'll just hire a chef. Maybe he can run the restaurant.
You can just be the face behind. You baby back or spare ribs?
Baby back.
Baby back. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Give him my baby.
Are you Kansas City style barbecue sauce? Or
baritone.
you going?
I'm Kansas City, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. That adds up.
Has
What
to be.
Stuff
about?
right there.
There's really a lot more fun stuff that goes on in this interview, and maybe I'll make a couple of shorter videos about it. It's really interesting when she talks about golf and how nervous she was. I kind of also like how she roasts the new NBA All-Star formatting. She talks about how fun the Eras Tour was and now how her mom's a Swiftie. Oh, there is one more clip I want to show you though, and it talks about how when she entered into the league, all the pressure and how in 2 words she would describe 2024 as life-changing, which 1,000%. But I think that it's interesting to talk about just like everything that went into going into the WNBA, because she had so much pressure and so much expectation, and she was just trying to get her footing. There were people kind of assuming that, okay, this is how you should be acting, this is how you should be reacting, and she's there the whole time just trying to understand and acclimate to such a high level of play. So let's get into it.
It was just a crazy year because you go all the way up to the national championship game and then you're playing right away.
Yeah.
You know, one of my coaches early on in my career said, you know, your rookie year is always so hard because you're in a new city, you're in a new place, you're with a new team, new coaches. There's so much that's not part of the routine that you're so used to. And you had that as like magnified. I mean, are you looking forward this year to like kind of having some like, I don't know, more of a routine?
Familiarity.
Yeah.
You had the
For sure.
familiarity. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so unlike any other professional sport, really, from the standpoint of, so I played in the national championship and I basically went to the draft right after, got picked. And then you basically pack up and move. Like you're moving in April, you don't even finish senior year of college. And I guess for you guys, like what was it? You go to the combine. How long do you have to prepare for the combine? A few months. And then you get drafted and you still got a little time to get acclimated to the new city.
For sure.
You know, you have camp, whatever. Like it's not like that. Like camp for us is like a week and a half.
Right.
And then you're
let's go
on the
play.
court. Yeah. But I think it was good a little bit too. Like you don't have time to overthink things. Like it's just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
like you're just on to the next. But at the same time, like you don't like, I feel like I never really ended the chapter of college. Like it was just like you've been left, but maybe that's good. You don't have a lot of time to think about it. So I think that's definitely the weirdest part of, you know, women's professional basketball and obviously college basketball too, is just that change, but that's kind of how it has to be too. So it's just different, but I feel lucky too, because we had the Olympic break. So I got a month off in the middle of the season because we had to pause the WNBA season because, you know, the 12 girls go and play in the Olympics and everybody else, you're not doing much. So got a month off, which I really needed, obviously, because I'd been playing basketball for just a year straight. But
she did. Obviously
so much different from the NFL or the NBA or whatever it is.
I remember my coming into the NFL, one of the biggest challenges for me was like kind of like finding my like professionalism in a sense. I was such a leader on my team at Cincinnati. At least I felt like I was like the main one of the voice of the team. And when I got to Kansas City, there was guys that had just been perennial Pro Bowlers and guys that had already had that culture set. And then on top of that, Coach Reed, and I struggled trying to find my lane and like really like feeling like I could give a piece to the team or like find a role on the team. Was there anything like that happened to you early on, knowing that it all happened so fast?
For sure. And like you come in as a rookie and like you said, like you're trying to figure out a new environment, new teammates. Like you don't want to say too much. You don't want to say too little. And it's just so hard. But like in my scenario, and obviously you guys too, like you're already highly thought of. Like people are turning to you to like be something or be someone. So it's hard. Like you're trying to get your feet wet, but also not do too much. And I think that's kind of what I struggled in early on is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how they're going to react.
For not knowing, you nailed it.
But also like I had a lot of really good vets around me too. So I feel very grateful for that. And we had a fairly young team too. So like people had been through it fairly recently. So they knew how I felt. But like, I feel like that definitely is a huge challenge. And that goes for whatever professional sport. Like you're trying to learn, but also people are looking at you like you got to perform and like be what they drafted you to be. And that can be tough.
Yeah. So I thought that was really important because Caitlyn Clark does get a lot of pressure. As she mentioned, like going into the WNBA, there was so much controversy just surrounding her mere existence in the WNBA and how much she got and like how a lot of the fans reacted, you know, kind of poorly in a lot of instances. She's 22 years old. How does she know when and what to react to? And I think she, did it perfectly, just like Jason said. I mean, she's touched by the hand of the basketball gods with her talent. And therefore, tons of eyes followed because what she was doing was not done and it had not been done. And she's just thrown into the deep end of things. And it took a second. First of all, dive into this crazy beginning of the season schedule, get it done, live up to the expectations that people had of her. And then also, while all this media hype is going around, like trying to keep that calm, because no matter what she says, there are two sides and both sides are going to be angry with her. So I do appreciate the quietness she had around social media. And I think that it's really important to just give her some grace and let her grow as a rookie. But it's a really good watch. If you want to go watch it, it's on YouTube. It's on the New Heights podcast. And if you want to just peruse around, here again are those chapter breakdowns. They're also in the timeline of the video. But Happy New Year to everybody. See you next time.